Hi, my name is Linda Waller. I am the coordinator and lecturer of Latin American Business Studies here at Avans. Labs is a concentration, it's a major in Latin American Business Studies that you can choose as a student. And basically you take the regular core curriculum of business courses, but you do one course every quarter that concentrates on Latin America. And it really teaches you about the history, culture, the overall understanding of Latin America and the Latin American economies to allow you to cope in that environment when you go to work there, ideally. Yes, students can choose from three main majors. They can either do Asian Business Studies, in which you study Chinese and you then go and work in China or go and do a university exchange in China. You can do cross-curricular management and languages, in which you study two languages and it concentrates slightly more on the non-profit and charity sector. Or you can do, obviously, labs, which is what I'm coordinating. And then what most students do is just the regular IBS program, which really concentrates very much on business, but then has a slight concentration on logistics and understanding business overall. The students that we have that decide to study Latin American Business Studies tend to be students that have an interest in Latin America. Many have been to Latin America. Some of them have relatives in Latin America. And some of them are simply curious about Latin America. There's something about the Latin American culture that appeals to them. What I will say about the Latin American Business Studies program is that you want to live there, because as part of the program, you will have the opportunity to live in Latin America. Yes, as part of the program, what students do is they spend the first 18 months here at Avans. So they have 6 quarters of regular business studies programs and obviously a course each quarter on Latin America. They then go and do a placement in Latin America, or they have the choice of going and doing a placement in a company that concentrates in Latin America. They then come back to Avans for their 3rd year. They spend the first semester here, and then they go and study at a university in Latin America. They come back for their 4th year. They study here for a semester, and then they go back to Latin America and they do a placement and their graduation dissertation in a company in Latin America. So in total, they have to spend a year living in Latin America. After graduation, what we find is that most of our students, 8 out of 10 students, will find a job within 3 months of graduating from the Avans School of International Studies. Most of our students will have made contacts in the field when they've actually been working on their placements. So many of them are then offered a job afterwards. The kinds of jobs, many of them get jobs in marketing and sales, but obviously it really depends on their talent. Some of them end up in the accounting part of an organization or in the finance part of an organization. But what we find is that we have a high success rate in placing students after graduation. They can, absolutely. They can, if they choose the IBS, they can actually even do a university exchange in Latin America. So they could choose to just do one of their placements in Latin America, or they could choose to do both, or they could choose to do all 3. So it gives them the flexibility. But if you choose labs, you have to spend a year in Latin America. If you choose IBS, you could just choose to go there one of your placements, and then the other placement you could do somewhere else in Europe, for example. Thank you.